All right, friends, we're going to go into your brand, and we'll break this down so that you can see it and conceptualize how to add in keynotes into your brand story, how you see yourself, how other people see you, really what you're creating in your company, so that in your business, so that you can really connect with the people that you're designed to. So the most important aspects are who you serve, okay? And it's also why you serve them. And then to talk about your story, like how did those two things merge so that you can show up in the business world through your authentic being. So who do you serve? If you go back, I did a video called sell to your fractal line. So go back to that because it's going to give you all the indications right there on who you're speaking to. However, now I'm gonna also give you some keynotes in here to help you go deeper into the words that you can use to really spark them, but also words for you to use for yourself and your own profile, so that you can also enhance your own profile, so that who you're serving, they can also hear you. Okay, so go back to that sell to your fractal. Is basically they're the line values in your nodes are really who you're selling to, and then all the pain points that those people actually have, and the solutions are in your open centers. How can you help them, break free, feel more worthy, find their own direction, be inspired and motivated, stop, chasing or hurrying, using their own energy correctly, understanding their own emotional intelligence. These are all things that people are struggling with, and you have the solutions for them. So component number one for your brand, okay? Component number one for process number one is really understand who are you selling to in your fractal line. Again, go back to that video and lean deeper into it. And now your why. Why are you doing this? Well, there's two components to your why. The first component is your incarnation cross. First component is your incarnation cross. So you can do a couple things. I've already done all of the quarters for you, all of the purpose. So everybody's incarnation cross is included in this home study course. And that home study course also provides you with the quarter that your incarnation cross resides. So mine's quarter 3, and it's about bonding. And that incarnation cross and the quarter that you're in, take all of those keynotes and begin to let those keynotes work through you. So my incarnation cross is contagion, and my quarter is bonding. So I know that how I bond with people is through what I am learning, what I'm teaching. This is just how it works. So I get to be the contagion for what I'm learning. I get to say yes. I get to discover something new. So when I look at the human design body graph, no matter what teacher bumps into me, when they're talking to me, when they're using their language, I hear everything through the lens of human design. Whether they know human design or not, I hear it all through that. Now, the second component of your why is the profile. The profile is so important for your public role, because this is actually the costume that your incarnation cross is actually living in. So my cross of contagion is cloaked in the authority pioneer. So on the outside, that's what I'm looking at. So I become the authority for what I need to discover and then share and become the authority of. And then I pioneer what needs to be discovered. I pioneer by testing the fates. I pioneer by using my energy and contributing. And that's how people feel and see me as the authority. So you'll be able to weave these keynotes into your own branding. And I'm not going to stand up and say, oh, I'm an authority figure and blah, blah, blah. No, by the way I present myself as the authority, that's then how I am perceived. So go into your profile and your incarnation cross and start to write out some keynotes of all of this. Again, the Incarnation Cross, the book that I absolutely love, and I shared this when I talked about like breaking down a rating, is called the Global Incarnation Index. It's called the Incarnation Crosses. It's not a very big book, but I am telling you, the amount of information in here that Ra talks about is like phenomenal. It's only 165 pages, but it is mind-blowing. So when we are looking at the profile, okay, there's the information for these profile gates comes from what we call the role gates or profiling gates. So there's 8 of them, and 2 are collective, 2 are individual, and then 2 of them are tribal. So let's go deeper into this. These slides are great, but I want to go to this because I think this is the one that will totally clear this up. So in human design, you're going to have a conscious aspect, right? So for me, it's my 1. The unconscious is my 3. So you want to go into your particular keynotes for your public role, okay? And go into this. And this is how you want to look at it. So when people look at my 1, okay, how I perceive myself is the authority, the investigator. That's all I do. That's all I do all day long is investigate. How other people perceive me is that I'm an authority in the material that I'm investigating. What you perceive and remember, I do it through empathy. I'm very empathic to the material as well as the delivery of the material. What am I aspiring? It's all about great timing and creativity. How do I connect with others? Pursued. I'm pursuing other people, the pursuer. I pursue different ways to look at design. And then I'm pursued because of this authority and this empathy. How do I establish security? Self-provider, coveter. So I am a self-provider. I am independent that way. And coveter is around, coveting other people's money, food. And I also do that with my husband. I utilize some of his financial wares to make sure that I have security. The 6 The emotional approach to situations, weakness and strength. Sometimes I'm weak around people. Sometimes I have a lot of strength. And what I notice is that my strength really comes out when I'm connecting with masculine energy. My weakness comes out when I am dealing with a more feminine energetic. It's just what I notice. The instinctual approach to situations is the 50. Again, weakness and strength. How do I express that underlying value? And how do you handle responsibility? So you want to look at your own keynotes. We're going to go into each one of these just so that you can see it a little different, okay? But use this. Now, the unconscious aspect, you don't have conscious awareness of it. But you will be able to notice it in your life because you're studying design. So I notice I'm an anarchist. Like I tear down the things that are not working. I also have the 40 and it's all about decapitation. So I have to, decapitate the stuff at the top and have that fall so that a brand new foundation can be established. I recognize the pioneer, that pessimism as well. When people talk to me, I am so pessimistic because I can notice the not self versus the condition or versus the true self. I know that I make bonds and break bonds constantly. I know this. That's why I even say to my students or clientele in coaching packages, I'm like, when we're done, we'll be done. And when the energy is ready to break, it's ready to break and it's okay. So that I can release myself to have new clientele. You can release yourself to go have new teachers. Right? So you want to just play with these keynotes and lean into them. So let's just walk through, different keynotes that you can write down for yourself and start to, write your branding story around some of these. So if you're first line, the investigation, solid foundation, that modesty, creativity, empathy, introspection, study, research, fear, survival, insecurity, self-involved, right? All of these things are things that you can talk about in your branding. And, okay, if you also have first lines along your fractal line, these are also really good words to use because if they're along your fractal line, they will recognize this stuff in their lives. So you can go into like a dictionary and pull up words related to the authority and see what comes up in the dictionaries. Do that for all the words. And what that's going to do is allow you to get a deeper sense of who you are, but also when you're using this along your fractal line, it's also going to get a deeper sense of your fractal line. So not only, authority, you can go into what does a solid foundation mean? Is there any other words for solid foundation? What does modesty mean? What kind of words can you use around that? Now your second line, exact same thing. So you want to go through the list, read them, and then take that out to the dictionaries, type it into the etymology of words. What is absorbed actually? What is the etymology of that? Where does it go to the origins? I know you're going, Leann, this seems like a lot, but what it does is it deepens it in your cellular structure and as well in your conscious knowing as you're moving through. Okay. Third line, trial and error, hard knocks, right? Material resources, because the third line is all about the material plane. 4, the 4 externalizes its wisdom, but it also feels, that it wants to be alone at times, wants to be alone. It aspires to be alone because it's in a group, it's in a network, and its opportunities are in the network, but at times it is very exhausting. It feels very fatiguing. They get people fatigue. Oh, hold on. All right, fifth line. So we want to take a look at all these qualities here. They universalize. What does that mean? So when someone says the word guilt, like universally, there's a sensation of guilt. People understand that. Universalizing is taking something brand new and taking that message out and universalizing it, having it fall into the cellular structure of all the people around. They're natural leaders. They step in, they fix things, and they step out. Okay. So again, all words and keynotes that you can use to lean deeper into different words to add into your branding. The sixth, we have the role model. It's a living experience, sees the big picture. It's mature, has this mature wisdom because it's gone through such a third line process that there's a lot of maturity there. And then, of course, going back to the dictionary and taking a look at that. Okay. So number one, you want to look at, number one, you want to look at who do you serve? So you can use all of those exact same keynotes to sell to your fractal line. Okay. You can do that. Because those people in your fractal line, whatever their line value is there, whatever the line value is, mine is actually the exact same as my profile. So it's a 1-3. I'll just show you here. So you want to look at right here, 1, 3. So whatever your nodes are, you can add all of those keynotes that we just talked about for your who do you serve. And then you want to lean into your components of your why. It's your incarnation cross, but it is also your profile. And then where we want to go to is we want to blend this all into your story. Okay. So how did you actually enter into the industry that you're in? What circumstances led you here? What are you known for? People know me for human design. That's what they know me for. How do you inspire and motivate others? How do you create change and cultivate transformation? How do you add value? So I'm going to tell you that all of these questions right here are also elements that I'm going to teach you for lead magnets. But these questions extrapolate your story out of you so that you can write that story. I have a story around, how I bumped it, or this material bumped into me. It just found me based off of an online search that I did that should have never have brought up human design, but it did. So lean into these 3 components, write it out, play with it, make it malleable, put it on your about page. See what is attracted to you through that about page. And if you're in the mentorship, we will take a look at it and play with this. All right, have fun.